hive mind. An MDMA trip report by Israel, posted to Earwood.org, August 22nd, 2008. I've got to share this with you, simply because I know that you are the only people on the planet who stand a chance of understanding what I'm about to share. So, Saturday, I rolled on pure MDMA for the first time in my life. I've done X before, of course, but I was able to get my hands on 3 grams of 100% pure, unadulterated MDMA from a source that I have ultimate confidence in. I prepared. I stopped rolling X a month in advance to let my tolerance relax. 2 weeks beforehand, I started prepping. I began going to the gym 3 times a week. I drank a full carton of high pulp, not from concentrate orange juice a day. I ate balanced meals that I carefully cooked myself, no fast food, nothing bad for me. Went to bed at 10 PM every night, woke up at 7 AM every morning, and then took my full daily need of all essential vitamins. I went to GNC and dropped about $400 for the best stuff I could get, bringing one of the local health science doctors at my uni to guide me to tell me what I needed. By the time Friday rolled around, I felt better physically than I ever felt in my life. I can't tell you how healthy I felt at that point. So, Friday afternoon, the caps arrived by mail. I wait patiently and tell my 5 closest friends that it's here. I screen it just to be careful, and can barely sleep that night because I'm so excited. I still managed to get a full 8 hours of rest though. Then, we all get together at my friend's apartment on Saturday night. There's 5 of us here, 3 of us, myself included, are rolling. The rest, well, they're just along for the ride. So here's the timeline of events. At 9 PM, we arrive at our friend's apartment and make music selections for the night. We've got a really high quality clipped audio system. I highly recommend it to you audiophiles out there. At 9:15 PM, we settle in and I hand out doses. My 2 rolling friends each decide 50 milligrams is good enough, so they pop theirs with some ground up vitamin C tabs. I, however, want this night to be special. I rail 100 milligrams of MDMA and follow it up by snorting up some water so I waste none. I then take a 100 milligram vitamin C tab. 9:30 PM, and we begin by listening to a band called Massive Attack. I begin feeling it coming on now. I know, that fast. My toes curl a bit reflexively, and I just know I'm about to go on the ride of my life. 9:45 PM. We're halfway through a song called Teardrop by Massive Attack, and it just hits me. I nearly do a backflip out of the couch. I curl reflexively and my jaw goes slack. My friend asks me if I'm okay, and all I say is, "Yeah, it's starting." He gets uneasy because he's never heard of MDMA hitting that fast, nor have I. I'm not worrying though, the feeling is amazing. I can feel the oxygen going into my lungs in a very profound way. 10 PM. Oh my god. It hits. At this point I realise the roll is real now. My perception shifts, and what I can see now I can only describe to you as spiritual synesthesia. I'm looking at things in terms of pure colours, sounds, and God. I know, that sounds crazy, but I'm sure at least some of you can relate. We're now listening to Gregorian hymns. I highly recommend this sometime. 10:30 PM. I and my rolling friends cannot physically stay on the couch. We have to get up and move. We're off the couch and dancing very slowly in a trance-like state. We're now listening to Orbital's Halcyon and On. About a minute into the song, it hits me in the chest and my perception changes again. I freeze. I can't breathe because of what I'm feeling. I begin to cry uncontrollably at this point. Not because I'm sad or anything, but because, well, you all know why. Vision means nothing at this point either. I'm seeing nothing but sounds, lights, and palpable emotions. I look at my other 2 rolling friends, and they look at me in the literal waterfall of tears down my cheeks, and immediately begin to do the same. The 2 sober people are looking at us in utter awe of the experience we're having. 11 PM. We begin to peak now. I know. I fucking know it. It's hard for me to explain this part because, well, shit got so ethereal, and at this point I'm not even sure what was just me and what was them. God's eyes became my own eyes, and I can see straight through space-time and, well guys, I'm crying typing this because of how powerful it is just remembering it. The 2 sober friends are up and moving with us now. I can only assume they're getting a body high as well. 11:30 PM. We are still climbing. Our consciousness begins to break down, and man, MDMA, I didn't believe in any sort of psychic empathy before Saturday night, but for a while, we became a hive mind. Nobody was talking to each other at this point. We could just look at each other and all the words we could ever have for each other were transmitted between eye contact. The song that was playing throughout all of this was Jerusalem by Bill Laswell. At 12 PM, I'm reasonably certain that this is the absolute peak. I can't really explain this in a coherent way. Let it be known here that I'm Jewish, raised Orthodox. But God touches me at this point. Reality just kind of peels away and I'm looking at these spectres of sorts. It takes a minute, but I realise I'm looking straight at the souls of my friends, and everything we've ever thought, felt and done is laid out in perfect honesty. There are no secrets, and no facet too obscure or embarrassing, or anything to be hidden away from each other now. I and my two rolling friends have cried out every bit of tears we have in our bodies, and I can feel the raw primal force of emotion between the people in the room like it's a sort of wind blowing by us. 12:30 PM. We're now listening to Pendulum, all of the Hold Your Colour album. It's just emotion, sound and dance at this point. It was almost out of body and feeling, because it was just happening, and we were just along for the ride. 1 AM. The music dies down and we begin to descend, but it's like air. We're all back in our own bodies and we sit down on the couch again together. We drink some water and just sit and reel from what we've been through, while our heads are still pounding from the very real fact that we are still rolling on a level higher than any before. 2 AM. We spend the last hour explaining our entire lives to each other, not a single lie. We just sit and fess to every guilty thing we've ever done, and it's like breathing for the first time. 3 AM. All of us retire back to one of the apartment's bedrooms, 2 girls, 3 guys for reference, and lay down together on the bed. And the most incredible thing transpires. Believe it or not, it didn't turn into an orgy. We just laid down and got tangled up in each other, and just related to each other on the experience we've just had. By 4 AM, we've all passed out. We wake up the next morning at around 9 AM. We get together and drive to the closest farmer's market and buy all of the fruit we want. And we go sit in a field, eating fruit, drinking water, and just sitting in utter shock from the night before. I tell you what, after this, I'm starting a religion dedicated to this substance. That anything as beautiful as this is talked about as bad as it is, well, it's just criminal. I'm sitting here writing this in tears because my life, hell, the very person I am has been so fundamentally changed by Saturday night. I feel like I did when I was 7 years old, when the world was wide open and that there was truly nothing to be genuinely worried about. I've got to say, I think that was probably my favourite MDMA trip report that I've shared on the channel so far. I've shared a lot of candy flips, Nexus flips and other combinations of MDMA with DMT and other substances, but it's rare that you find an MDMA trip report on Erowid that's written as eloquently as this one and touches upon the mystical quality of the experience. Recently, I went to this sort of mini festival, rave, hybrid type thing with me and my best mate, and we both took MDMA. It was the first time I'd taken it in a very, very long time. Like I say, this is a substance that should be respected massively. Don't be tripping more than, 1 or 2 times a year really if you want to be super careful. MDMA can be neurotoxic if abused, and it's something that you shouldn't be doing in high amounts at all, in consecutive days at all. I know people at festivals will get an MDMA every day, and this is super unhealthy. You got to realise what the MDMA is actually doing to your brain, overloading it with serotonin. This is a super intense drug, and also, if you are going to use MDMA, don't be using, if you're going to take a pill, take half really. You don't really need to take the full thing. That's a lot of MDMA. Like say, if there's 250 milligrams in one of your Garys, we call pills Garys in the northwest of England. I think most people in the UK call them Garys. It's nicknamed after Gary Ablett, the footballer. Gary Ablett tablet. That's very clever, I know. So yeah, I had half of this pill, and I believe it was 250 milligrams in total, so I had 125 milligrams, quick maths. One of the cleanest pills I've ever had in my entire life. This is another thing you need to be very careful of. Dodgy pills, most of you will know that a lot of the deaths related to ecstasy are due to the dodgy cutting agents that are in it. Obviously sometimes it's sold as MDA, which is actually a lot more potent at lower doses and can be more toxic at a dose of say 125 milligrams, whereas MDMA, that's sort of your nice common, maybe slightly higher than common dose. Everyone's different the way they react to it, but yeah, 125 milligrams was just perfect for me. I didn't need any more. I just had that half. I was perfectly responsible with my usage of it. Hydrate, you need to keep hydrated as well because you'll be sweating and moving about so much. Remember to breathe as well. Obviously sometimes your body can go into a bit of a haywire mode on MDMA, so you just got to be very careful with this sort of stuff. But if you use it carefully like this guy did in the trip report, kudos to him for being so conscious about the preparation that is required for an experience like this. And I really do think it could have pushed him over the edge in the best possible way into the mystical experience, him being literally in the prime mental and physical condition to explore this substance in a safe manner. So yeah, if you're going to be using it, I'd learn from this trip report and do so yourself. This not only was this a beautifully profound experience, and the way he wrote it was really touching, it's also a prime case study in how you should prepare for any type of experience like this. Also, I must say that all of the tunes that he was playing were just absolutely chef's kiss. Pendulum, Hold Your Colour is one of my very favourite albums of all time. Pendulum is just one of my very favourite bands in general. It's literally the mashup of my two favourite genres, metal and rock and drum and bass and dubstep, neurofunk, all of that. Electronic meets rock and metal. Awesome, absolutely love it. And yeah, let me tell you, on MDMA, it's just out of this world, or any psychedelic in general. It's really one of the best albums to listen to. The whole discography is just on another level. So big ups to the guy for having a sick taste in music. And what a beautiful bonding experience he had with his friends, like he says, in a non-orgiastic sense. It's not like they always like, right, let's start shagging each other or whatever. I mean, if you want to do that, that's completely fine with me as well. But it was in a purely platonic peak friendship moment. Me and my mate of a day had very similar experience as well, and we were seriously tapping into like this God consciousness, I am you, you are me, the higher universal self sort of stuff, and we were just opening up so much to each other and actually integrating, processing a lot of our shadow elements as well. It was the trippiest and the MDMA experience I've ever had, and I was super dialed in for the rest of that night into the next day, and actually do feel like I've changed a lot since then. It was the peak MDMA experience, didn't overdo it, was just the perfect amount. The great vibes, great music. All of my best friends, all of my best friends in the world were there, other than my other best friends. I've got a lot of best friends, I fucking love them. And it was this amazing setting, curated by some amazing people. The vibes were off their head in the best possible way. It was like heaven on earth, and the MDMA just it was the cherry on top that just capped it all and turned it into this beautiful encapsulation of love and friendship and peace and beauty. And this guy basically went for the exact same thing I did as well. But yeah, sometimes people get a bit lost in chasing the MDMA experience, and they can just keep doing it weekend after weekend. I know a lot of people did that when they were teenagers, abusing Garys all the time, and it can lead you down a seriously dark path. And I can see why people get stuck in it. It's like, and see it as a form of escapism, because it's just pure love with no negativity. There's no ego. There's no, maybe some people cling on to their ego and have it. Everyone's different, aren't they? But when I have MDMA, there's no ego. There's no devil in me. It's just pure loving awareness, unconditional love, physically, mentally, spiritually, energetically. Oh wow, it's just unbelievable, isn't it? Also, I must say, just to clear up one thing the guy was confused about, he says he didn't understand why the MDMA hit him that fast. Well, he actually railed it. Americans call it railing. Snorting lines of Mandy. We call it Mandy, not Molly. I love the differences between drug slang in the UK and the US. We have a lot of amusing banter surrounding that on my Discord. Anyone who's in there knows just how much I like to poke fun at the American cultural idea of drug use, which I don't know, it's something very humorous to me. Like, they call it boofing, I call it plugging, they call it Molly, I call it Mandy. I want railing, like I don't know, what do we call it? I mean, you'd probably just say I'm huffing a fat line, mate. But yeah, the reason the MDMA hit him so fast is because, well, I mean, yeah, it's interesting that he said, I don't understand why it hit me so fast, because he obviously knew that the absorption was going to be faster by sniffing it, and I even knew how to snort some water up so that he wasted none and didn't get any drip back, because let me tell you, drip back from MDMA is possibly one of the worst things I've ever experienced in my 26 years on the planet Earth. Really not nice. Yeah, so he obviously knew what he was doing. He obviously done it before, but I don't know, maybe in the past it didn't work as fast. I don't know. Usually when you do that, it instantly hits you. It's crazy. My days of snorting mandrew are very much over. Like I say, if I was ever going to take MDMA, it's going to be like once or twice a year at a push, just to redial and realize love on a super physical level. It can be amazingly spiritual and is awesome. Just for like, it like caps off sort of chapters of my life in a sense, because I do it so sparingly, and I'm like, oh right, this is the love that's gonna catalyze and accelerate my development, and I'm going to reflect back on this whenever I'm down in the dumps. I'm like, look, right, this is that feeling of the love, the chemical love. You can translate this into your life, and I feel like a sliver of that MDMA love, like the inner. I can do it right now. Like, if I just sit here and just focus on love, like take my consciousness inwards and feel that just inner beauty. It's awesome. And then obviously on MDMA, that's like taken to an infinite scale. So yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Really love sharing these MDMA reports. I'll try and find some more that touch upon the mystical experience of the substance. Anyway, take care, have a good weekend, and I'll see you on the other side.